At a time of sky-high gas prices, Fox11 started asking questions about how and when LA County assigns employees to take-home vehicles. We found in some cases the county is breaking its own rules. Christy Fajardo has more in this Fox11 investigation.
Susan, we put in a Public Records Act request for county home assigned vehicles for the years 2020 and 2021. Those were both pandemic years, and there were months when the county was under a stay-at-home order. Even so, our Fox11 investigation found instances where the county seemed to ignore its own policy. Forget 401k matches. It's a gas pump perk that many of us wish we had. Employer-owned cars. Employees can drive to and from home.
If I work for a company that pays my gas, I'll be happy.
But that's a reality for many LA County employees. Most have cost-saving reasons for taking home vehicles, including heavy equipment or driving to assignments from home, which saves on overtime. But Fox11 also found dozens of examples of home-assigned vehicles in 2020 and 2021 that went to employees who racked up personal miles, but rarely used them for business. Among them, County Board of Supervisors staff, including one who worked for Supervisor Barger, who used the county vehicle for almost 26,000 personal miles, but only drove it for 676 business miles. We sent our findings to the government transparency group, openthebooks.com.
The LA County Board of Supervisors is literally taking LA County taxpayers for a ride.
Their CEO, Adam Andrzejewski, crunched the numbers and says the county could be shelling out more than $1 million a year on cars that are used mostly for commutes, not so much for business.
LA County has a lot of problems, and every dime that goes into a taxpayer-provided vehicle from supervisor over at the board or their chief of staff or employees, that is a dollar that is not being spent on the problems in LA County.
Also raising questions for Open the Books, over a decade ago, a grand jury found some abuses of county take-home vehicles, and the county adopted new rules governing who should get them and why. One of the guidelines, they should only be assigned to people who drive them more than 5,000 business miles a year. But we found example after example where the county used a loophole that let them grant exemptions to that rule. This Board of Soup staffer drove more than 11,000 personal miles in a county-owned car, but logged zero for business. There were also examples in other departments, like one employee in the district attorney's office who logged more than 22,000 personal miles and only 137 business miles. Or this colleague whose personal miles were almost 19,000 but had only 233 business miles. We also found similar examples in county fire, internal services, and public works. And there was a common theme. Many were six-figure earners. The county couldn't tell us how many fill-ups were paid for by the taxpayer, saying it varied by department.
I don't think that these county agencies should be providing vehicles for personal commutes. Times are tough and every dollar matters. And specifically when it comes to the problems in the county, they're acute, and taxpayer dollars should serve people who have real needs and not the county bureaucrats.
We wanted to talk to the supervisors about our findings, but were referred to the board's executive office, who corresponded by email but did not give an interview. The department confirmed the county policy stipulates county vehicles should only be assigned to those who drive more than 5,000 business miles a year, but said most of the supervisors feel deputies get them, but did not elaborate on why. But added, cars are assigned based on how best to serve the business needs of the county. That doesn't sit well with Susan Shelley of the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, who says there could be valid reasons for issuing exemptions to the policy. And if so, the public has a right to hear them.
I don't think that public employees should be treated to all expense paid employment when everybody else is having to pay those prices and pay for their own vehicles. I do think it's very questionable, and it's fair to ask.
We tried asking several times, even logged into the Board of Supervisors virtual meetings. And take a look. This is how long we waited one day in virtual line to bring up the issue. But each time, public comment ended before we got our turn. The county points out that employees have to claim the perk and gas on their taxes, so taxpayers get some of that money back. But when many of us are running on fumes, watchdogs we spoke to say some county employees shouldn't be filling up on the taxpayer.
Right now, taxpayers in LA County, they're just not getting respect. The county needs to crack down on their existing rules in place and hold the agencies accountable to those rules.
There were also more than 100 vehicles that were not driven at all, perhaps because these were pandemic years and people were working remotely. But that raises some questions about whether the county should be footing the bill for cars that aren't being used. We should also mention that since the grand jury findings more than a decade ago, there have been improvements. Most of the county fleet is more fuel efficient, including hybrids, and also more economical, including brands like Ford and Toyota. In the newsroom, Chrissy Fajardo, Fox 11 News.